This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Climate Dispatch. My name is Lauren Hierl. I'm the Executive Director of Vermont Conservation Voters, and really happy to be joined today by Shelden Goodwin, who is the Political Outreach Associate for Vermont Conservation Voters. And this week in our home edition, we wanted to talk with you all about voting and the importance of having safe, accessible elections and how that is a key climate strategy because, as you all know, we need a healthy democracy and we need to be able to elect people to office who are going to champion the climate vision and values and priorities that we've all been working so hard on. So one of the areas that we've been really focused on in recent weeks is looking at how people are going to be able to vote this year. And I want to turn it over to Shelden to talk to us about what that could look like, what happened in the legislature in March, and then the work that's been done recently. And then I can wrap up with a little bit of what's happening in the political sphere and how you can make your voice heard to make sure that we are maintaining access for as many voters as possible to vote safely and without putting themselves at risk during our elections this year. So Shelden, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Lauren. So we are at a point in time that's very different than anything we've experienced before. And because of that, we have to really change the way that we think about voting this year. And so the legislature passed a bill in March that gave the Secretary of State authority to put in place different options to make it safer and more accessible to vote this year, with the need for social distancing and the need for a clean environment to vote and all the other aspects that go into dealing with a pandemic, but also trying to make sure everyone who wants to vote can. So the legislature put in place different options for the Secretary of State, and one of those was vote by mail. And that was an option that would allow each voter to receive a ballot in the mail and send that ballot back via the mail. And this would be a really good option because it would allow people to vote from the safety of their home and do their voting in a secure place without having to congregate in large groups at their town clerk or wherever they usually vote at. So this is the option that the Secretary of State is thinking of for the November elections, along with other aspects of some in-person voting as well. And so this is really important because this would allow as many people as possible to vote in November. We actually did a webinar last Thursday with the Oregon League of Conservation Voters political director, and she gave a really great overview of why vote by mail is safe and why it's secure, why it would be a really good option for Vermont this year. So check that out in the description below for the link. And I will now turn it over to Lauren to give a little bit of an update of what's happening now on vote by mail.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Shelden. So as Shelden mentioned, the legislature authorized the Secretary of State to develop new proposals, and we really like what Secretary of State Kondos and his team have come up with the vote by mail for November, paired with safe in-person voting options. And at this moment, we have to figure out how we can move forward because the governor has to approve any kind of program that the Secretary of State puts forward. That's how the legislature, authorized the Secretary of State, said, let's do it in consultation and agreement with the governor. So the governor now has on his plate this proposal from the Secretary of State and has expressed some concerns about moving forward with vote by mail. Fortunately, what we're hearing so far does not echo some of the rhetoric we've been hearing out of the White House and some national GOP operatives who are trying to question the security of vote by mail and other things. And there's no evidence. It's a very safe, secure system. And in fact, 30% of Vermonters already vote through the mail with our no excuse absentee ballot system. But we're still concerned that the governor has not just allowed the Secretary of State to move forward with this program. So we're really looking to engage, let the governor know that this is a program that we should move forward. The Secretary of State has made clear that time is of the essence. So the kind of response the governor's had so far is, let's see where we are. Let's decide whether we want to do vote by mail after the August primary. Well, it's going to be impossible logistically to do that. We have to either decide now and commit to vote by mail, or we're going to miss the opportunity to do that. So that's why we are asking people right now to reach out to the governor, give a call, leave a message, call him at 802-828-3333. We'll put the info in the post here, but really letting him know that this is a priority for Vermonters. This is going to be a way to ensure safe and accessible elections for as many people as possible. So let's just move forward with it. Let's make it happen. Let's let the governor know that we need to do that. So that's what we're asking people to do this week. We will come back to you to keep you updated on this issue and what else is happening related to climate policies and how we're making strategic investments as we rebuild and recover so that we can make a more resilient and climate responsive Vermont. So stay tuned for that. Keep following us on #ActOnClimateVT, and we will look forward to seeing you next week.